Jonas here. And this pretty huge DJI wireless mic microphone with me. Today in this video we will be talking about the Wheel of Time TV series from Amazon Prime and its first half of the third season. My opinions about it, what's been happening with the show and stuff like that. Mainly I use this video as a means to vent my thoughts, my frustrations and my happy thoughts about the show. It's not all bad, it's not all good. I think it's a good show with its flaws, and I think myself as a big Wheel of Time book fan. Definitely not a huge intense fan. I have read the series through once fully, and when I was a younger kid, like 15 years or something old, I read it, like maybe the first 6 books, I guess. And now it's been 2 years or 3 years since I read the whole series through, and it is fantastic. It definitely has its flaws, like the slow pacing. Sometimes it's very jarring to read, very boring, and the relationships with the men and woman is so weird in the book series. It's very frustrating. Maybe a lot of it has to do with the fact that the main characters are mostly hillbillies, farmers, young ones. Well, I would say they are pretty conservatively raised, something like that. But lots have changed in the series. The main characters are older. They have more deep relationships with each other's sex scenes in the TV show that weren't in the books. Sex stuff like started way later in the books, and it was scarce still. If you are going to say that, I hope no one takes an offense of this, then maybe you shouldn't say it. But I still want to say that in the TV series, the Aes Sedai, some of them they come to me as a very cock hungry woman, and like it's nothing wrong with that, but that has taken me by surprise compared to the books. The men and women having like threesome and stuff like that. I definitely didn't get those vibes when reading the books. There are going to be some spoilers from seasons 1 and 2 in this video, and I'm definitely going to spoil the first half of the third season, but I am not going to spoil future things. I'm not going to talk about things that have happened in the books that I'm waiting to happen in the TV series. So don't worry about that. I'm very spoiler allergic guy, so I really don't want to spoil these things for you. And I have I guess a loose mind. My memory is not that good, so I'll be using be using some notes about what's been happening lately, because from out of my mind I just cannot remember this stuff greatly. Before we go into the my analysis of the third season's first half, I want to memorize what has been happening in the first season. I think the first season was okay, I guess. I know it had a very rough production cycle. Like Amazon did pour money into the show. Was it like made in the year 2019 or 2020? Because, well, everyone knows what happened in 2020, and I think that affected the show greatly. Like they didn't get to travel around. The shooting stuff was restricted. Even the original actor of Matt Caughton just decided to abandon the production. That's crazy. That's crazy that you just decide that that's it. I don't want to act this role anymore. Yeah, such a shame. He was a very good actor, but fortunately the new actor is, I think, it's on par. Very great choice. But the first season was mixed. I think the first episode where the Trollocs attack, very intense and very brutal and dark. After the first, no, it was before the first episode, I decided that I need to read the books. The first season I was pretty much reading the books at the same time when watching the TV series. So I got the book references and I could reference the book and the TV show at the same time. But I don't know if that made any justice to the TV show, because yeah, they had a very rough production that year. But I guess it delivered in the end. The last episode of first season, that I think it was kind of a mess. And in the first season the actors were very clumsy. Even the main actress Rosamund Pike was very clumsy at times, and she seemed to take the role way too seriously. In the books, Moiraine is very serious woman, but I don't know in the TV show it maybe she was Moiraine like it is in the books, but in the TV show it doesn't just work like that. But to be frank, in the books the Aes Sedai, they are all pretty dick. They are all very dick faces. They are so arrogant people. And one big change is definitely Lan not being this big hulky guy, but more smaller and leaner. That's okay, that's fine. It works for me at least. But as the show went to the second season, I think lots of stuff improved pretty much. The actors, I think they loosened a little bit. And in season 2 we got Lana Fair, and I think the casting of Lana Fair is very spot on in this series, very spot on. And I think the second season overall was very good. But the final episode unfortunately dropped the ball big time. I think the biggest complaints I have with this series are the bigger fights, like the first season's pilot episode fight. That thing was pretty good. Like it was in the first season's episode 3. There was this fight where they fight Logain and his supporters, and that was like a local role-playing group playing role-plays in the forest. That kind of stuff. That was pretty lame. That continues in the second season finale in the Falm with the Sean, Rand, Aes Sedai, all these bigger fights. The only good fight was the when Rand went for the horn. In the books, fight emerged between Rand and Turok, and Turok is or was a sword master, and I think it's a bit unrealistic in the books. Rand can keep his own against Turok, and in the TV show Rand just obliterates the enemy with magic. And I think the scene was more realistic that way, because at least in the TV show Rand doesn't get any sword fighting practicing until the third season. Like the really the biggest disappointment in this second season was definitely the heroes of the horn. Like in the books, I get this image in my head that there are hundreds or thousands of warriors. But in this TV show, there was like 10. It was so measly group. Come on. I won't be talking about the group more because that could spoil things. I don't know, maybe. But the fact that in this TV show the group was pretty much a sidekick of people just showing up to fight. Yeah, that was a pretty big disappointment. Absolutely. Still, season 2 was better than season 1. Let's finally get started with the season 3 first half. And I have to pick my notes up because, as I said, my memory is not so good. Okay, so first of all, it seems, I don't know if this was told in the TV show, but there's 1 month between Falm and the beginning of season 3. Season 3 starts with a big bang. Liandrin is getting questioned in front of Amerlin's seat, and the Aja sitters is being hard pressed about stuff that has happened in Falm. Naive. I don't know, it's pronounced Naive. Nynaeve has told the Aes Sedai that Liandrin trapped him and Elaine, and Liandrin is of Black Aja. And eventually Liandrin is exposed, and then suddenly she calls other Black Aja sisters to join him in her fight. And the ensuing battle scene it has some goodness in it. Like the visual effects, they are good. The sound effects are good. But the main problem at the right start of this is that how easily they overpower the other sitters. There was like Liandrin plus maybe 5 or 6. That still leaves many other sitters. Even if there wouldn't be any other sitters there, the fact that the Black Aja can overpower Amerlin's seat and his helper Lian, I don't remember her title. Black Aja overpowers them, but it's strange that why didn't they just kill Amerlin? Why? Nynaeve is of course of no use. She's definitely helpless right now. It's frustrating. And after that battle, Black Aja escapes almost. But then comes Alan, and she has 2 warders with him. And this battle scene that Alana's jump over the magic weave was ridiculous. I know green is battle agile, but she's being able to win the other members of Black Aja and Amerlin not. That's just, that's not right. Amerlin is the most powerful of them. You have to remember that. And it's easy writing. And the wardens, like they stabbed Leandrin through the heart. 2 swords, and somehow she still lives. It's definitely rule of cool writing. It misses all the logic. And then there's some talk of the calendar, the legendary weapon for male Aes Sedai. A queen gets to be accepted. He goes through the arches, and then in the books it was this bubble of evil, but in this TV show, Lanfear and Moiraine agree that maybe I'll just read it here from the Wikipedia because because I haven't made a transcription for this video. It's getting pretty clunky. But okay. At night, Moiraine allows Lanfear to covertly launch a series of attacks on the group, during which an unknown assassin nearly kills Nynaeve. When confronted, Lanfear reveals, to her shock, the assassin, a grey man, was sent by another Forsaken. The next day, the group separates. Randy's party heads for the Isle Waste. Perrin's group returns to the Two Rivers, while Nynaeve and Elaine remain in Tarvalon, as does Matt, who is plagued by foreign memories of the past. Elsewhere, Moghedien turns a captive White Cloak into Grey Man, and that final torture scene where Moghedien turns Jaikim into a grey man, that was very intense. That was like my hand. How do you say it in English? I don't know. Käsikarvat in Finnish. Just goes up. Yeah, it was a very intense scene. As Perrin is going back to the Two Rivers, where are the White Cloaks? That reminded me of that in Valme fight in the end of season 2, when Perrin killed this White Cloak general. It was an odd scene. In the books, he didn't kill him. But it was in the books. It was a misunderstanding. But in this TV show, like Perrin killed him. Like Perrin has it rough. Like in the pilot episode, he accidentally kills his wife, and now he kills an White Cloak general. And I don't know how the Perrin character is going to turn out in the TV show. Yeah, it's weird. And, well, I don't know how the Aes Sedai get their wows in the TV show, but in the book they use this scepter. Like when the Black Aja was revealed, I don't know why they didn't just re-wow the wows with all the Aes Sedai still present, and after the wowing they could have just asked that, are you Black Aja? And they couldn't lie. Because at least in the books it went that way, that when they sworn to the Dark One, that broke the Aes Sedai vow. But when they re-wowed the Aes Sedai vow, it broke the Dark. But that it overrode the Dark One's vow, in a sense that they couldn't lie anymore. But they still, of course, were sworn to the dark one. And then there was another small error, a lanfare called the utter forsaken. Amongst the forsaken, they call each other chosen. That's a little detail the showrunners got wrong. Okay, and episode 2. A question of crimson. In a flashback, Morgase Dragand, Elaine's mother, ruthlessly wins a succession war and ascends to the throne of Andor. In the present, she arrives at the White Tower, furious over Elaine's abduction and determined to take her home. Elaine, supported by Lord Gabriel, Morgase's consort, persuades Morgase otherwise. Morgase leaves behind her sons, Galad and Gavin, as well as her advisor, Elida, a Red Aja with a strong rivalry with Siwan, at the tower. Rand, Moiraine, Lan, Egwene and Aviendra travel to the Isle Waste, while both Egwene and Rand's dreams are constantly invaded by Lanfear. Egwene's nightmare leads her to a dream of Bear and Isle Wise One before the group encounters Bear, her husband Ruark, and their clan, the Tardad, at the outskirts of the Waste. In the Two Rivers, Perrin, Loyal, Bane and Jihad learn that the land is plagued by Trolloc attacks and white cloaks while hunting the monsters occupy the village. The group also meets Alana and her warder Maxim, who mourn their lost partner Yvonne. At the White Tower, Matt struggles with his past life memories and faces the reality that the Aes Sedai cannot heal him. He also reconnects with Min, who now serves as Siwan's spy at the tower. Okay, so we got to see the Isles big time in this episode, and I think they are quite well made. In this episode, I was quite dumbfolded by the fact that there was some. How did Alana get to the Two Rivers from the tower in such a short notice? That was strange stuff. And Lord Gabriel in this episode was fantastic. Elida, she's a known actress, and I think she's a good choice for the role. And Morgase definitely a very good choice for her role also. So I think the third season is very spot on with the casting choices. I think Galad and Gavin are okay castings also, but I think this second episode was more of a easygoing episode compared to the first and third episodes. And in the third episode called Seeds of Shadow, we got this plotline. Lanfear meets her fellow Forsaken, Samael and Ravin, the latter Lord Gabriel in disguise, to discuss a potential alliance. Unbeknownst to them, Ravin is already in league with Moghedien. At the White Tower, Siwan tasks Nynaeve and Elaine with hunting the Black Aja. They fail to interrogate two captured Black Sisters, but discover a clue to Liandrin's whereabouts, her history with the city of Tanjiku, and an artifact stolen from the tower similar to the Seanchan's Adam. Nynaeve and Elaine set off to Tanchico with Matt, secretly followed by Min. Elida tries to secure power for herself in the White Tower. In the Isle Waste, Rand's group journeys to Ruidean, an ancient city where Rand is prophesied to prove himself as the leader of the Isle. In the Two Rivers, Perrin assumes leadership as the White Cloaks look to arrest him for killing Joffram in Falm. Meanwhile, he befriends Fail Bashir, who, along with Lord Luke, arrives in the village looking for the Horn of Valier. Liandrin and her group arrive in Tanchico, planning to assemble an artifact intended to enslave male channelers, which they plan to use on Rand, while Moghedien poses as their servant. Yeah, it was fun to see Moghedien as a servant. I don't know what is she's up to as a servant. Yeah, it was definitely fun to see other Forsaken Sammael, and it's such a shame that Rahvin was exposed as Rahvin so soon. I would have liked that it would have been this great twist at the end of this third season, or even in somewhere between the fourth season. And I don't know if Rahvin and Moghedien has some kind of a love relationship or something like that. It seemed a little that way. Nynaeve and Elaine interrogating the Black Aja was very, very good, very well made. Our interrogation scene, they seemed grown up, not just teenagers in those scenes. They were very logical and intelligence. That was very well made scenes. I think for the next video I have to take another source than this Wikipedia, because Wikipedia page it's missing much details about the show. So that's definitely something I have to improve on the future videos. But like Tanchico seems a fun place. Liandrin definitely has some deeper background in the TV show that she had in the books. Pretty rough stuff with her underage marriage and child. And I guess very many people can get some empowering feels from the end of this third episode, where Liandrin kills his faraway relative who was going to marry this 13-year-old girl. We get some flashbacks from Liandrin's past, and the ensuing massacre was well made. Yeah, good stuff, definitely. The final episode of season 3, the first half, is The Road to the Spear. On the group's way to Ruidean, Aiel Wise One's success that Moiraine enter the city alongside Rand and take a trial that Wise Ones undergo. They also reveal that Aviendha, as a potential Wise One, must do the same. Despite trying to avoid that fate by becoming a warrior, Aviendha accepts the challenge, lives, and ultimately passes her trial. And we have this great duel between Aviendha and Lan. It was very fun, well made duel. Fast action, skillful martial arts, and sword and spear fighting. Very well made. And in these first episodes, last couple of episodes, we also see Lan training Rand with the sword very much. And it is interesting to see if Rand decided to choose a sword or spear in the future. And then we get another very silly scene when the Dartard Isles arrive at Ruidan, and just after the well, come on, I remember it. Sidos make a noise. Do they only then realize, oh, Sidos, they are there, 50 meters from us? That was so stupid. Like, you don't need to be this elite fighters, elite warrior race. You don't need that. So you know, you should use scouts. Scouts usually travel like hundreds of meters, maybe even kilometers before you. They should have known that there are Sidos there. And it was like they had this quite sizable camp made there, and that they didn't notice it. It was so stupid. That is a lazy writing right there. That's the kind of stuff that really makes me to jump out of the immersion. Like, it's so stupid that you just keep thinking, why was it made so stupidly? Why didn't they just couldn't make it better? That's very stupid. But Sidos seems to be very dickheads themselves. Coladin, very stupid. He instantly made me feel that I want to punch him, and I hope he gets what's coming for him. Okay, upon entering Ruidan, Moiraine discovers Sakarnen, a female counterpart calendar, and begins the trial, during which she experiences several possible futures where either she or Rand dies. Yeah, it was visually very well made. Once again, visuals in this TV show after the first season have been made very well. And yeah, it was one fun scene and intense scene. Moiraine was killed like tens of times, usually by Lanfear, and she also killed Rand many times. So I think she got like millions of visions, and maybe one of them helps him for the right path. And Sakarnen, a female counterpart calendar. Sakarnen. Yeah, it's fun to see how she will be using that. Because and this is no spoiler, compared to the books, this is very different story. It's very different. I don't know what's going to happen to the TV show because it didn't went like this in the books. During Rand's trial, he relieves the lives of his ancestors, learning the history of Aiel. During the Age of Legends, they were servants of the Aes Sedai who were sworn to pacifism and were sent to find a place of safety to protect Sakarnen after the breaking of the world. But eventually broke their oaths, splitting up and becoming the warrior nation they are today. And this was very well made scene. Rand traversing from now to the history, to his grandfather. I would have liked to see more life from Age of Legends. They seem to have I don't know if it's a high technology, but maybe high magic, like the floating orb in the sky. It was very interesting. The clothing were more still labored manually in the fields and used horses. Yeah, the IL background is very, very sad. Yeah, it's interesting that they drew ILs were the original way of the live walkers. True pacifists, they didn't use violence, well, except against the horse. He whipped that horse. It's a sad story, and I think it shows realistically that if you deny the use of violence, you get oppressed. And well, all the true ILs died eventually. And it's a naive way to see the world, but they had the right for it. Heartbreaking scene where the IL mother discredits her son. And I think the actor of Rand, in this end of this video, I will be reading all the cast and reading my thoughts about the cast. I have a bad name memory, but the actor of the Rand, he was very good in these scenes. Absolutely nailed it. In the most distant memory, Rand sees Lanfear, an Aes Sedai scientist, conducting an experiment that tears apart in reality, initiating the breaking. Rand passes the trial, receiving 2 dragon tattoos on his arms to be recognized as the leader of the IL, and carries a half-consciousness Moiraine out of Ruidean. And truly that scene where the boar was teared, that was visually and audiovisually very great scene, absolutely fine. An epic scale of things happened there, and Lanfear was there. She seemed happy back then, in a way. I think she was happy. Another mild detail that just caught my eye, that the oldest relative that Rand got to know in that history seemed to be a gay, and I know it's a funny thing to think, but like, how did they have kids if he was gay? Well, you tell me in the comments your theory about that. That was the episodes 1 to 4, and I still have some notes here. I want to look if I missed any opinions I have. But yeah, in episode 3, the Matt fought against Gavin and Galad. The fight scene where he wins them with the wooden stick. Yeah, it was very well made. It had this very important detail that I will be talking later when it is maybe talked more in the series. I'll talk about it then. But it was a fine fight. It really gave me chills. It was in this TV series. The big fights are crap, but these small duels, they are very fun. Yeah, it was. The boys were so full of themselves, and Matt just had enough. Nynaeve just, she wasn't surprised, I guess. Yeah, very well made. There's some good energy between Perrin and File. Let's see what comes out of it. I think the File cast is very well. And there's something brewing in the two rivers for sure. The people, the people are naive, I guess. They don't care about Trollocs, but maybe they should. The white cloaks. I have a bad feeling that it will end badly. Avendesora and the City of Fog. Another thing they did nail it very good, very good. The City of Fog, it was very ethereal, very epic. That was the other notes. I have other notes here. Yeah, another nitpick detail that Perrin was in his wife's grave, and the tree was pretty big. If they only give like one seed in the dead person's arm and it grows from there, I think it would make many years to grow an apple tree that big. But what do I know? I know apple tree, razor, grower. The gray men, they are exceptionally well made. Like if you did notice with the first gray man, even the camera couldn't focus on them. They were in the background, or it was in the background. Very well made. It was just like in the books that they can slip through everything. You don't see them. You don't take them into account. Funnily, the second gray man, Nynaeve somehow spotted him when he was about to shoot the arrow. The intro of the series, very well made. The visual elements and the weave of time and the colors of different arches, they combine it very beautifully, and the music is very relaxing and very epic in my opinion. Okay, so lastly, let's go through all the cast, main and supporting cast, and let's see what I think about them. Okay, so Rosamund Pike as Moirenda Modred. She's definitely a good choice for the role. He has that majestic look and acting skills to really make for the role. Daniel Henney as Alan Mandragoran Lan. Maybe the first episode I was a little preoccupied because, or if that's the right word, but I didn't like him that much because in the books he's a very big man, very athletic, and I think Daniel is not as a big man, but he's very athletic and he's a good actor, so I think that's a good casting. Joey Robbins as Nynaeve Almira. I think that is a good cast. In the books, Nynaeve is a very irritating person, and in the TV show she's sometimes, but usually not. I think she's been very well transformed to the TV series. I think the character she is in the books just shouldn't and couldn't work in this TV show. It's such an outdated view of a person. But I hope she gets her powers sometime back, because it's frustrating to see that she cannot do anything. If he cannot weave, she cannot do anything. That's a frustrating thing. Madeleine Madden as Equine Alweir, and in the end, this is a very good casting. Very good casting, yeah. The problem with me in the beginning of the show is because in the books the Two Rivers is in a very remote part of the world, so they all have these distinctive looks, if I remember correctly, like white hair, mildly white skin, and well, I think when you pour big money into the TV show today, or any production. You just cannot make it that way. You want diversion and stuff like that. And so that's why the people of Two Rivers are not so same looking anymore. And that is why I didn't think Madeleine Madden was a good cast as an queen first, but I think now she's done very well. Joseph Stradowski as Randall Thor has been my biggest surprise in later episodes, like in the season 2, season 3. He's been killing it. Very, very good choice. Marcus Rutherford as Perrin Ibarra. I think he has potential, but he hasn't sold himself to me yet. There's something off. I think he has a very big shoes to fill based on the books, but maybe we'll get to see him better yet. So Barney Harris as Matt Cowton in the first season was very good, and Donald Finn in the seasons 2 and 3 is a very good choice. He's very Matt-like, easygoing, very funny, very funny and easygoing guy, and yeah, he's been good. Kate Fleetwood as Leandrin Quirrell. She's been very good, except for the fact that she looks too much like a bad guy. Yeah, like too much, but otherwise very good cast. Priyanka Bose as Alana Mosvani. I think that's a pretty spot on. Yeah, Alana Mosvani, Priyanka Bose. Yeah, good casting. Hamad Animaushan as Loyal. That's another good casting, but I think Loyal should be a bigger, because in the book the Ogier were big persons, big race. That's my only complaint with Loyal. He's too small. Sophia Okonedo as Siwan Sans. What do I say? I think he's good. Kai Alexander as Min Warsaw. I think this is a spot on casting. I think Kai Alexander is exactly what I assumed Min would be like. Fares as Ishmael, also known as Baalsamon, the betrayer of hope and the father of lies, one of the forsaken. Yeah, another good casting. This show is full of great cast, and Ishmael definitely is one of them, or was one of them. Joan Myers as Badan Fane, a traveling merchant Darkwind. Yeah, Joan Myers as Badan Fane is excellent casting. And Alvaro Morte as Logain Ablar. I think Logain has potential, or Alvaro Morte has potential, but we'll have to see. He's been mainly being a kind of a cuckoo head so far. Taylor Napier as Maxim, one of Alana's warders. Yeah, it was good casting. Emmanuel Imani as Yvonne. Yeah, that was a good cast also. They haven't had so much screen time. Jennifer Keon Garcia as Leon Sarif. Yeah, I think Leon is a very good casting. Leon is the keeper of the chronicles, the right hand of Emerlincy. Yeah, that was the title, Keeper of the Chronicles. Meera Sual as Verin Matthew. Well, Verin was an older woman in the books, as really as these eternal, like not eternal, but like people, ageless people. They just don't look like that to me. Seara Coveneyas Elaine Rackhand. And this is one of the perfect casts, absolutely brilliant casting. Elaine Rackhand, she's exactly like I would assume him to be, her to be, her to be. Natasha O'Keefe as Lanfear, another excellent casting, very, very good. In the books, Lanfear was described as the most beautiful woman ever lived, and I think that's the thing in the TV show also. Very beautiful and very, very great acting, and she seems so dangerous all the time. Lindsay Duncan as Anvere Damodred. She's Maureen's sister, and excellent casting also. Jay Duffy as Bane Bornhold, White Cloak Captain. Yeah, Jay Duffy as Dane Bornhold. Yeah, that's a spot on. Iola Smart as Avienda. Very good. Avienda, maybe a little taller, I would have thought, but otherwise very good. Laia Costa as Moghedien. Yeah, Moghedien is very well made, and Laia Costa is seems to be a good actor. But I hope the creepy factor doesn't get overused. Yeah. Olivia Williams as Morcase Rackhand. Once again, great cast. Shore Akadashlu as Elida. Yeah, I know Shore Akadashlu. I think she's an actor that mixes reception, but I think she's good. Yeah. Isabella Bugerias Veil Bashir. So far so good. We haven't seen her so much yet, but so far so good. And there's tons of supporting cast, but that's topic of another video. In this video I meant it to be just the go through of the first half of third season of Wheel of Time, but we got something else also. But have you watched the third season yet, or even the first or second season? What do you think of this TV show? I would like to hear your opinions about the show. Please comment below. And if you would like that I would make a video like this for the latter half of third season, please like the video and subscribe to the channel, and I will definitely do it. And yeah, overall a good series, an entertaining series, but the missed potential is definitely there. I cannot deny it. But I thank you for watching this video, and we will be hearing and seeing each other in the upcoming videos. Bye bye.